Shut up and sit down.
And hello, today we have got Nick Cheng with us. We're going to be talking about a lot of things today, some stuff very close to his heart, I know. Nick, welcome.
Hello, welcome. Thank you.
Right, tell us a bit about yourself and how comedy, how you've got into it and what it does for you.
So I started comedy when I was living in China, and it was something that I always wanted to do. I did amateur dramatics as a kid, the local amateur theatre group, and we did Carpe Jugglum, and I loved performing. And I wanted to do stand up probably from the childhood days of watching Jasper Carrott and Victoria Wood,
Right, yeah.
giggling so hard that my sides physically ached with my mum. Um, but I was too afraid. I was too scared to ever do it because I always thought if someone was to shout something out, I wouldn't know what to say and I'd
Yeah.
freeze. I'd be rejected for my words, and I never gave it a go.
Mm.
And then it was when I was living in China and I saw that they don't have pantomimes over in China, so they don't heckle as much. Um, and I went to an open mic and I had a couple too many ciders. And I spoke to the host and I says, I don't suppose you've got any spots. And I honestly expected him to say, no, sorry, we're full. So I could then go, well, at least I've tried
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'll never try again. And of course, what's he go and do? Says, yes, we'll put you on in 20 minutes. Bugger.
So
Man.
did you have material? Did you have 5 minutes of material? No. Oh my God, you're so brave. My God.
No, I was so drunk. And yeah, I had 20 minutes to work out what to say. And luckily for me, I have had a weird life. I
Mm,
tell a lot of stories on stage, and a lot of people don't believe they're true, but they are genuinely true.
mm,
These things have happened in my life.
mm.
I've just added a bit more show business to the
Yeah,
story.
yeah,
But yeah, so luckily I've had a really weird life. So I told one of those stories from my life, and people were laughing and giggling, and I could see people clutching their sides. And
yeah,
I thought, this is amazing. I love this.
yeah. Good.
Make these people laugh. And I was hooked ever since.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like a sliding doors moment. I don't know if you've ever seen the film, but obviously, if they'd said, no, we've got no more spots, like you say, you could have walked away and never ever had another go since. Um, but that opportunity was given to you. And it is a buzz, isn't it? It's that buzz of making people laugh and having that ability to do that. And with told stories from your background, it's more
Mm.
believable as well, even with the showbiz added.
I was going to say a lot of people don't believe them. Uh, I mean, I tell people I'm probably the only person they will ever meet that crapped himself on top of a nuclear missile submarine. I made a mistake. I trusted a fart I shouldn't have done. Yes, I peaked my kecks on top of a missile submarine.
Oh my gosh.
And that is just one of the weird things that's happened in my genuine life.
So obviously you've given us a little hint there about your past life, as it were. And since obviously I presume coming back to this country, is
Hmm.
that how you got involved with Project Comedy, which is obviously what we're going to talk about a bit later on, but is
Yeah.
that what happened?
So I was invited to do a podcast.
Mm.
Um, And I can't, to be honest, even remember what the podcast was about because it never actually got aired in the end.
Oh,
But I was interviewed alongside another comedian who also was a military veteran that was doing comedy. Um, and it was basically from there that I discovered Project Comedy. I went, this is an amazing idea. I wish that I had had this when I came out the forces,
Yeah.
and had this thing to help me.
Mm.
And now, because of that, I've become an ambassador for Project Comedy.
Which is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I mean, I have looked it all up and it just looks like such an amazing thing that they do, giving people a space, really, a safe
Yeah.
space to work stuff out and to obviously eventually perform. So we'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. But obviously, while going back to China, is that where your alter ego comes from? Because you have an alter ego, don't you?
Yes, I do. So one of the things that I found, even when performing on stage, and as my confidence grew, I felt more comfortable wearing like a suit of armor.
Mm,
So
yeah.
my suit of armor is a pair of 4-inch high heels, a sparkly jacket, and an aggressive demeanor. And I have the character Long Hu, which is actually my Chinese name.
Oh, right,
Uh,
okay.
I when I lived in China, because the government will give you a Chinese name based on your English name sometimes.
Right.
Mine, I didn't like the sound of it, because my name being Nick, my Chinese name would have been Nick, and
Yeah.
that's no, it doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound
Yeah.
right. So I chose my date of birth in the Chinese calendar
Mm.
because they're all based on animals, and I found out it was Year of the Tiger and Month of the Dragon, Dragon Tiger. That sounds brilliant. I love that. Um, it did then cause a problem when I met my husband. So my husband's name is Cheng Gong,
Right.
which means success in China. And I then took his family name and became Cheng Long Hu. The problem is there is a very famous Cheng Long,
Oh, right.
Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan's Chinese name is Chun Long, and every
Oh.
time my name got translated, it got translated as Jackie Chan's Tiger, and it sounded like a really weird set of children's stories. Like Jackie Chan's tiger wants a pint. Jackie Chan's tiger is stuck in traffic.
I can see why, yeah, now. Well, I never knew that. I never knew that was his Chinese name, but there we go. Oh my God. So you stuck with Long Hu, and that's who you perform under now. And you still
And
perform with Suit of
it
Armour.
was all created basically because I had a bad day at work.
Really?
Yeah. I had a bad day and I got on stage, and you always hear the thing about how comedy is cathartic and it's good for just getting up. And I went on stage and I was annoyed.
Mm.
Uh, some things had happened and I was fed up. So I got on stage angry and expressed anger. And in China, they had never witnessed an angry gay man, and they thought it was amazing because of the witness camp men. They're always happy in media. They're always shown as like, "Hi, how are you?" I
Yeah.
gone on as this gruff, angry. Oh, but
In
I am
heels.
in heels, yeah. And they lapped it up, and that's where the character's going then. So yeah, in the heels, angry bloke, jeans, shirt, and it grew from there until we get the long hair that I do today.
Brilliant. That's so good. It's so nice to hear that process from start to
Mm.
finish and how what happened to make you get to that point. That's fantastic. Now, obviously, you mentioned some comedy heroes that you had,
Mhm.
and is it the style of Jasper Carrot? Because I think he was probably one of the first to start telling the whole things that happened to him and making a story um, back in what, 70s, I think it was. So is that the
Yeah,
sort of humor you like?
um I suppose. Yeah, I never consciously say, right, I'm going to do this in the style of.
Yeah,
I'm going to do
yeah,
this in the style of. I mean, sometimes I've described my act as like Al Murray in Heels,
right.
uh, with the sort of pub landlord character,
Yeah,
but it's just a gay bloke wearing heels at the same time.
yeah,
Um, I mean, one of my inspirations was the comedian Eddie Izzard, no,
yeah.
Susie. Um, because they perform surrealist comedy, and I
Yeah.
thought it was brilliant. I loved the way that they would paint stories with words,
Yeah.
things like the cat purring sounding like a pneumatic drill. Is that, are you drilling behind there? Me drilling? No, I'm just purring. I thought that was an amazing, like,
Or the room sweeper.
depiction. Yes, yes. Well, I mean, I think a lot of people's favorite is, of course, the canteen on the Death Star.
Yeah. I've got to be honest, you've picked somebody who I absolutely adore and find incredibly funny. So yeah, definitely I could see why that would inspire you. But
But
you,
that's never really gone into, it might have gone into how I tell my stories,
yeah,
but I don't have the creativity they do to go surreal. I
yeah.
just happen to have had a really surreal life. Genuinely surreal. They're all true stories, so it's very bizarre.
And how do you work out your set? How do you put your gig together?
So I have at the moment a typical opener,
Hmm.
which I like because it started in China where people didn't know what gender Long Hu was going to be.
Right, yeah,
Because you hear the name Long Hu and it could be masculine, it could be feminine, nobody knows. So get on stage and they see a man in heels and they go, oh, right, it's going to be like Julian Clary.
yeah, yeah,
And I walk up to the stage, well, just sort of flounce up to the stage and I wave and I poise. And then I open my mouth, and the first words that come out are, Ni hao, bitches, how the fuck are we tonight? And everyone just stops, looks. They're like, we thought it was going to be this, and it's
yeah,
not. We then thought it was this, but it's not. Now we're going to have to listen because we
yeah.
don't know what's coming.
Yeah, exactly. But
Um,
at the same time, I'd imagine you break a lot of tension as well by being
yeah.
that introduction.
And then as time has gone, I've added bits and changed
Mm.
bits and evolved it, but that tends to be the opening bit, which has been created then for my 1 hour show
Yeah.
called Long Hu, My Husband is a Communist. And it's about like Chinese culture and living in China. And I'm trying desperately to write on my second one, but I'm struggling from procrastination quite terribly.
I suppose procrastination is dreadful if you're a creative because you know that you get such a buzz and such a joy out of doing what you do, but it's a real bugger to try and get those words down because I presume you write everything out and just get a rough running order of what you're going to do and what you're going to say. Um,
So when I'm performing on stage, initially, yeah, I'll write it and then bullet point it,
yeah,
and I'll try to go from the bullet points.
yeah,
This is at the open mics where or new material nights where you're feeling it out.
yeah,
Uh, and then yeah, obviously try and get off the bullet points as quickly as possible so you can concentrate on mannerism and
yeah, and getting
uh,
that flow.
presence on stage.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how has Project Comedy helped you with that? I mean, I presume that they would help you with that side of things, even though you already had a background with stand up from China.
I think that so far because I've been so lazy writing, they haven't had a chance to help me.
Right.
Uh, but it has been a brilliant experience helping others
Yes.
uh, with their initial steps
Yeah.
into comedy. And we have like a green room on
Hmm.
Zoom where we discuss or we'll go through like how's everyone been, check mental health, um, celebrate gigs that people have managed, and people can then run material on the green room.
Yeah.
Um, we are hoping that in the future we can run workshops and get new veterans that have never tried
Yeah.
to give it a go because comedy and performance helps with so many soft skills. I mean, something I keep saying is like if you can do 5 minutes on stage,
Yeah.
you can do a job interview.
Yeah.
So even if these veterans don't want to take up a career in performing,
Mm.
they're still learning skills that they
Yeah.
can use in everyday life.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, when I unfortunately left the Navy due to a nervous breakdown, my self-esteem was destroyed.
Mm.
And I built myself up starting with karaoke,
Right.
which probably would never be prescribed by an actual therapist, but I
Favorite
was
song?
currently Skyfall by Adele.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I can see you singing that actually.
I've got the deep voice for it, yeah. Um, so I used to go to karaoke because I thought if I ever mess the song up, I can leave the pub and never speak to these people again, and it would be okay. But people kept coming up to me and going, "Oh wow, you sang that really well." Like I'd sing "Gloria Gaynor, I Will Survive"
Yeah.
in a male deep voice,
Yeah.
and they were like, you'd hear the DJ being like, "Next up is Nick singing." I will survive. Okay, let's see how this goes. And and then people would come up and go, "Oh wow, you sung that really well."
Yeah.
Um, an issue with veterans is we don't know how to take compliments very well. So we'd just be like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure you said that to all the singers," and you wouldn't believe it, you wouldn't
Yeah.
accept it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But eventually, it sort of sunk in,
Mm.
and I started building myself up little by little.
Mm.
Um, then, as I say, I moved to China and discovered stand-up comedy, and again, just built myself up little by little, little by little.
So
And
how has that helped your like you say, your self-esteem was shot to pieces? You know, to be able to stand, most people would be like to stand on a stage and make complete strangers laugh. You know, my God, that's such a brave thing to do in the first instance. But have you found that, you know, maybe because of
I
the
mean, when I
what
started, I wasn't doing best habits.
yeah,
Maybe like half a bottle of wine
yeah,
before I got on stage every
yeah,
time. But um, I think that it's good to have the separation.
yeah, yeah,
For someone like me, I've recently been diagnosed with anxiety disorder,
right.
which potentially could be PTSD, but we haven't gone down that route of
Yeah.
diagnosis yet. I find it easier being on a stage
Hmm.
facing people than being in a crowd surrounded by people.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think
So
that's as well. Do you think because of being long who that
yeah.
you can be somebody else for, like you say, an hour long show,
Mhm.
and you feel a little bit of you is protected as
Yeah.
Nick.
Oh, certainly, certainly, and that's
Yeah.
why I continue doing Long Who,
Mm, mm,
um, because it is that just that little bit of separation, that suit of armor,
mm,
um, and yeah, it makes that experience more comfortable.
mm. And that makes you really then a very good ambassador for Project Comedy because obviously you can share those experiences with new to comedy veterans, you know, that would maybe not want to take that first step.
Well,
And
I recently created, some people call him a monster, and I love him dearly. Uh, my Frankenstein is I helped one of our other Project Comedy comedians create a character act called Josiah de Monologue or Joey Monologue. And Joey believes he is the best actor in the whole world. And it is quite clear that he is terrible. Uh, and working with Jamie on Project Comedy, we have developed this character. Jamie's brought in ideas. We go, okay, so we could try it this way and we can perform it this way. Um, I think recently we added a bit about a shopping list.
right.
So he claims to be there's someone in the audience who's also a member of RADA because, of course, Joey went to RADA, and he'd take this script and say, "I will show you how to perform this correctly," and he starts with like chicken, Kievs, and starts reading out a shopping list because he doesn't realize because he thinks he is the best actor in the world. And Jamie has loved performing this character
Mm.
because, again, it gives him that escapism
Yeah.
and it gives him an opportunity to be someone else
Yeah.
for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, however long he can get on
Oh
stage.
my God. I just think that's brilliant. I really do. And it is a really good way to step into comedy, isn't it? To
Yeah.
be somebody else just until, I mean, one day you might decide to take off your suit of armor and be Nick Cheng. But yeah, see, at the moment it feels like a mountain, but you never know what's around the corner. I mean, I'm sure if somebody had said to you as stepped out of the military, you're going to be standing in front of people and making them laugh, you probably would have laughed at them.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, never say never.
Well, I'm not sure if I would have laughed at them. I might have been too afraid. I mean, it's daft, but some of the things that I did after I left the military, I suffer from anxiety. I dislike conflict. Um, Shortly after leaving the Navy, I became a bouncer in Glasgow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I worked the doors telling Scottish people they couldn't drink alcohol, and I was terrified of conflict. So,
Oh dear.
but
I mean, I'm
I
sure they
think
might.
again, it was a performance.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
definitely.
how I learnt to deal with that
Yeah.
thing of being on a door
Mm.
and inside screaming, I don't want a conflict, I don't want a conflict, I don't want this person to dislike me.
Yeah,
But then going, I have to play the character
yeah,
of the man on the door.
yeah,
And so I think more than just a comedian, I'm an actor because
yeah.
I act all the time.
Mm.
I act as a brave person. I act as
Yeah,
um, a confident person, and then
yeah.
inside is just like, "Oh, I want to go home."
Screaming. Yeah. Oh my God, I can imagine. But what is next for you? Obviously it's great that you're going to continue to be Long Who, but what is next for you? I know that Project Comedy is going up to Edinburgh with these two shows. Are
Yes,
you part of those two shows?
I am. So we will be going up to Edinburgh and sort of telling people about Project Comedy. We're going to do two shows. One is going to be Should Have Tried Harder at School, which is civilian comedians versus veteran comedians. It gives people a chance to also plug their shows and
Mm.
go like, if you like what you saw here, and it's just going to be a lovely fun show where we get to face off in this sort of friendly competition.
Yeah.
And then in the evening we're doing a show called Gags Army,
Mhm.
uh, which will just be the veterans, showcasing what they can do now through
Yeah.
comedy. And then obviously at the end we'll have a little chat about how that was achieved through Project Comedy and hopefully get support.
Yeah.
We're aiming to raise funds for Project Comedy and Project Recce,
Mhm.
which is our sort of parent charity.
Yeah.
Project Recce, they help veterans get into construction jobs.
Right. Yeah.
But during lockdown, they discovered a lot of these guys, their mental health was slipping,
Yeah. Yeah. I
and
mean,
they
it was
need
an industry that just died, wasn't it,
yeah.
through lockdown? Yeah, absolutely.
So for the welfare side of things, that's what kind of created Project Comedy.
Yeah.
And during lockdown, they'd be on the Zoom calls talking
Mm.
about comedy and coming up with ideas and performing.
Yeah.
I was in China at the time,
Yeah.
so I didn't join Project Comedy until last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we've been sort of working with a couple of guys and helping them. We've got one guy who outright doesn't want to perform comedy at all, doesn't want to do it. His goal is to get confident enough to go and watch a comedy show.
Oh, wow.
That's
Right.
what we are because of his mental health condition.
Yeah.
Um, he struggles to be in new environments
Mm.
that involve alcohol and involve. So we're coaching him through going to attend a comedy show
Mm.
and watch as an audience and feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So it's not even just getting them on stage. Sometimes it's just getting them in the door.
Yeah. And introducing them. to, the possibilities of what comedy can offer either on stage or, as you say, an audience member. So let's hope that really works out for that person. Um,
Yeah.
do you think then maybe this is why you're procrastinating then, is because you're waiting for Edinburgh, and then as soon as Edinburgh's gone, then you can crack on with your new material.
Now,
You
I
might
think
get some more new material.
one of my great fears is paperwork. And it's the whole sitting in front of a laptop and going like, I should write this, I should write. Oh, but no, there's another thing that I need to do.
Yeah,
I'll go and do something else. I, I think I'd rather clean the house than do the writing.
yeah,
So every time I have ideas, I will note them down
yeah,
and I'll leave them. Or sometimes I'll try and do a couple on stage and see if any of them work.
yeah,
Um, but the actual part of constructing a show,
yeah.
yeah, I haven't got. So I know the title of the next show will be Zero Ducks Given. Um, and I've got general themes because the first one was a lot about me being gay and living in China
Mm.
and culture. Things like I love how the Chinese accidentally worship the devil. So in China, well, have you ever seen this symbol?
Yes, yes, yeah,
So scuba divers, surfers use that to mean awesome or
yeah,
epic.
yeah.
But that is also in China the number six.
Oh, right,
So they
yeah,
go one, two, three, four, five,
yeah.
six, seven, eight, nine, and 10.
Yeah.
That's how they count on the fingers. So they see this as six, and they see people do this. So now you have emojis and internet slang of 666 means something is epic. Liu, liu,
Oh,
liu. So it's just wonderful how a hand sign has been turned into a number, and they go, yes, 666, dude, number of the pig. Yeah. And because it doesn't have the Christian connotation.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
just wonderful how these cultures have intermixed and these languages have intermixed, but you then get something as bizarre as little Chinese people going, 666, dude. And it's wonderful. And I love how the world sometimes does things like that.
Absolutely. So is that what
That's
you're
the
gonna
first
maybe
show.
you're gonna base sort of some of that into your new show then?
So that's the first show,
Mm.
Long
Oh,
May
right, I
My
see. Yeah,
Husband
yeah,
is Communist.
yeah.
And then the second show is going to be more the homosexual Jack D.
Ah, right, okay.
So
Okay, yeah.
it being gay, everything
Yeah,
ache,
yeah.
don't like technology, or new cars can go and screw themselves. Don't get kids nowadays.
Yeah,
So it's very much the the character of the grumpy old man, but
yeah.
this time the grumpy old man is a
Yeah.
gay man.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I ha I don't think that's been done yet.
No.
So
So putting a new spin on that. So that's interesting. I'm looking forward to that. That sounds brilliant. We'll have to get you back on when you've got your show together so we can get your Edinburgh done.
but what I'd love to do is take my husband is a communist on tour,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, at the moment, I don't think I'm famous enough that if I was to go and book a local theatre,
Mm,
I'd fill it.
mm.
So
It's
it's all
tough, isn't it? It's
yeah,
tough. I had a conversation with another comedian the other day, and they were saying the same thing because of the costs involved. It's not something that's viable at the moment.
yeah,
But it's always good to dream. It's always good to have that dream. So, that's
yeah. I mean, that's it. I could probably get some things, get some theatres. It's
yeah,
just people don't know who I am.
yeah.
People, why would we go and see this person?
But then
Uh,
that's the beauty of fringes, isn't it? And most cities, towns have their own fringe festival now, and even a
well, they
local
need to be
town of
supported.
ours, and you can maybe go and do that show, maybe a shorter version of it. Certainly would definitely pursue that because that, definitely take that show on the road.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's the hope and the wish for
Yes.
that.
Well, it's always good to, like I say, to have a hope and a dream and a wish. So, but I'm going to say thank you very much for taking the time today to chat to us. I've absolutely learned so many things just chatting with you today that I didn't know before. So I'm going to quickly just reel off for those who are going up to Edinburgh, because obviously it's a massive thing, Edinburgh Festival, and I think it's exciting that you're getting to go up there. Very jealous. So we've got Should Have Tried Harder at School. That's the veterans versus civilians, and that's at Bar 50 in the Garden Room, and that's at 31st of July. It runs all the way through to August 24th, and that's at 12:30 each day. And then the
Yeah.
other one is Gags Army. I love the title of that, and that's at the Kickass Cowgate, I think, in the Fringe Room, and that's
So
at
that's just up the street from Bar 50.
brilliant.
Um, and also, if anyone would like to find out more about Project Comedy, they can find us on projectcomedy.co.uk.
Brilliant. I'll make sure that that link is in the link underneath
Mhm.
this video. And also, I know it says pay what you can tickets from 250. I implore people, if they're going along to watch any show, put as much as you can in to support these comedians, because it's bloody hard work. So much goes
Especially
into
as,
it,
yeah,
you know,
as
and
we're actually raising money for our charity, not even
yeah.
for us.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the added caveat, really, is put as much as you can in, because I think it's very much worth it. And I'm just so pleased for you. And I just wish you all the very best. And we will get you back on when you get that second show written. We'll keep
Thank you.
keep tabs on you. No, I won't. I won't.
Yes.
I won't put that
Oh,
pressure on.
please do. Please do. Like, subscribe, comment.
All right, Nick, thank you ever so much. And all the best. And we'll speak to you soon. All right. Bye.